crashing out so bad because oh, that's how good the narration is. Alec Lightwood, Jem Carstairs, Tessa Will and Jem. I don't know honestly how many people are reading these books in the year 2025. Hello besties, it is a brand new week, which means it is time for a brand new reading video. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to call this. It might be mood reading, it might be reading my TBR, it also could be how many 5 stars can I find in one video. You guys will already know from the title. As for a little reading check-in, I feel like I'm in a really good era. I'm feeling so grateful for that because I had a rough start to this year, which you may know if you have watched my videos, but I kind of feel like there's 2 books that brought me back, that resurrected me, and that would be Priory of the Orange Tree and Sword of Kaigen. Also Great Big Beautiful Life. And I'm just feeling really excited to read again and open to new stories, whereas before I was just like very closed-minded and I was just in a slump, so nothing was hitting and it seemed like nothing would ever hit again. So some good and bad news. The bad news, unfortunately, is pretty rough, but it's that I am soft DNFing The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon, and she's the author of Priory of the Orange Tree, and it's because I'm just not enjoying the dynamic of this series. Maybe it would hit more in the fall and winter because it is kind of dark academia vibes. What I'm hating is that he owns her. It's kind of that dynamic where he's responsible for her and she has to answer to everything he does, and that's not the kind of escapism I'm ever looking for. I don't tend to like that ever. I really wanted to like it and I was hoping I'd love the urban fantasy of it all, but I do think I'll try coming back to it. It's just, this is like peak reading time for me in the spring and this is not hitting. But the good news is I did pick up Watch Me by Tahereh. In January, I binge read the entire Shatter Me series in a week and it was so fun. It felt like I was binging a TV show. It felt like I was reading a TV show and I love that feeling. I wasn't sure if I was gonna buy this, so I got it on Libby first and listened to the audiobook. I loved it. I think this is by far her best writing in this world and I love James. I feel like I see James the way that I'm supposed to see Warner and Kenji, whereas in those books they sometimes came off a little bit cringe, but I felt like James was perfect. Also, Jagulus's love child, if you're a fanfic reader. I read this in 2 sittings. The audiobook is so good, and this is just gorgeous. I'm really glad I read it, and sometimes I think you just need a fun, silly, good time. So I gave this 4 stars. Now we are caught up to the present, and I am reading Tom Lake by Ann Patchett. My mom recommended this, and I also pulled it for my May TBR reads. I've just been kind of in the mood for a contemporary fiction. This is a story about a mom who, for a short time in her life, she was an actress. I think there's a lot of mystery surrounding that time, and her 3 daughters, once and for all, want to hear what happened. So the mom is telling the girls the story, but I think it's pretty clear that she's an unreliable narrator. The best news ever is that this is narrated by the ethereal, iconic queen herself, Meryl Streep. I think that Ann Patchett's writing, combined with Meryl Streep's narration of it, is transporting me. It feels so real and I'm just having the best time. I think I'm gonna like this, but I've also heard that the last 10% something bad happens. That's all I know, and I'm a little nervous about that. The other books on my radar that I could read in this are these 2 classics I pulled also for my TBR video, and then my last Shadowhunters book before I'm completely caught up, also Heavenly Bodies, and then I just picked out these 2 at Barnes yesterday. So the Jasad Heir is inspired by Egyptian mythology and it just seems very intriguing. So floppy also, it's very nice. And then I also got The Story She Left Behind, which is the author who wrote The Secret Book of Flora Lee, which is a historical fantasy that was so close to being a 5-star for me, but it was like a 4.5. So I'm excited to check that out, but I don't know what I'm gonna read next. But all I know is I want to read a lot. We're gonna go on a lot of walks this week. We're gonna do puzzles, binge read, make matchas and chais, just the usual. So stay tuned and I will keep you guys updated on Tom Lake. 100% into this book. I would go as far as to say, don't read it, listen to it, because that's how good the narration is. The combination of Anne Patchett and Meryl Streep, it feels so visual. It has completely come to life for me. I don't know how a book can feel this comforting and yet so extremely ominous at the same time. I've thought about this, which is why I have a metaphor locked and loaded. It feels like when you're laying out in the sun without sunscreen, it feels so good and it's like recharging your soul, but you know maybe something bad is coming and maybe your skin is getting redder and redder by the minute. I went into this knowing from my mom and also having seen some Goodreads reviews that say something happens in the last 10%. But I think even if I hadn't known that, it would still feel like someone was watching me over my shoulder. I feel like I'm an Anne Patchett fan. I'm kind of in awe of what she's doing. I'm so curious if everyone is transported back to the summers they had when they were young while reading this. I think that's probably the intention. And for me, I have felt the feelings that I experienced in the summer in between high school years, and it's this niche sensation that I have not revisited. It's that feeling of having a friend group in the summer that maybe don't stay your friends, but you get so close and bonded because you spend all this time together and every day feels like a week, and so the memories are so visceral and stick with you, and yet there's all this like teenage angst going on, which they're not teenagers in this book, so I'm definitely projecting. Friendships would blossom and burn out so fast, same with relationships, and drama would happen. You felt so alive, and this is the story of Lara when she felt so alive. And yet, also, we're getting this through the lens of when so much time has passed and it seems unimportant to her. But then you can tell as she revisits it that it actually really did leave a mark on her. Another thing that I love is the acting of it all, the thespian of it all. And as a former thespian, it's really fun to visit the time warp that is also being part of a production and how you feel so close to your cast members even when you don't know them at all and you wouldn't be friends, but there's this kind of fragile family type of truce that forms. I miss that. I'm also really intrigued by the narrative of Lara being a mother and the way she views her kids. I am obviously not a mom and I don't know what that's like, but she just, she'll say funny things about her kids like, this one is so scary, I'm still scared of her. Or this one is too sensitive, I have to be careful. Parents can project themselves as so calm on the outside, and yet on the inside they know you best and they have all these maybe calculative thoughts about you. I'll have to ask my mom if she feels that way because I'm like, wow, this is fascinating. I'm just absolutely eating this up. I'm loving every word. I want to read more contemporary fiction, literary fiction immediately. But I have seen multiple people on Goodreads say they knocked down 1 or 2 stars because of what happens. And I do have a few theories. One of my theories is horrible and gruesome, and I hope it doesn't happen. The other one, it seems too predictable. So I'm gonna sit here, drink my chai, and do my puzzle. And I wanted to make sure I was filming for this part so you guys can see my reaction. What the problem was though. Did I miss something? Because I was expecting something crazy, but I felt like it was very nice. All right, I looked it up, I did some research, and there is no huge plot thing that I somehow missed. I think my expectations were just through the roof because I had heard things, but what did happen felt very human, and I didn't think it stood out to the point where it ruined the book because this entire book is very human and it's just about a woman and her experiences. And nobody is perfect. Hannah Montana said it first. I'm not gonna give a final rating now because I don't think this is the kind of book I want to just wrap up and move on from. I really want to sit in it and think about all of the themes. I think I could read this book multiple times and get something new from it every time. Yeah, I really enjoyed it, but I'll come back tomorrow with an official rating. felt like switching up my reading location today, and a benefit of living in Utah, which is such a beautiful state, is that I can drive 30 minutes and then see this. This is Snowbird Resort, which is one of the most magical places ever in my heart, and this is where I read ACOTAR every summer. And in fact, when spring hits every year, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need ACOTAR. I got my brown sugar chai and I listened to my Valaris playlist on the way up here, but no, it's not time yet. We're reading other books right now and they are actually so good. So let's get into that. To finish up my Tom Lake discussion, the more I think about that book, the more I absolutely love it. It captured so well the way that life makes sense in the end while also making absolutely no sense at all. I think it just resonated with me, and her life feels like how life feels. I say that book is 5 stars, and I say it with my entire chest. Now, is it possibly me manipulating the system to turn this into a how many 5 stars can I find in one video? Who cares? It's my channel. And I'm like, well, now that I know that that one's 5 stars, let's just keep these good vibes going. So I'm actually reading 2 books right now, and I brought them both up the canyon with me. The first book is one that I pulled in my May TBR video, and that is Ghosts of the Shadow Market by Cassandra Clare. This is the very last Shadowhunters book I have before I'm all caught up. And I'm about 200 pages in, and I think this whole book is 600 pages. I'm also reading The tahereh right now, which is a romantasy that came out in 2023, and I am really enjoying it. I am 42% into Ghosts of the Shadow Market, and it's full of short stories that are giving filling the gap vibes. It's filling in a lot of, I don't want to say plot holes, but just like empty periods in the Shadowhunter world. It's setting up for characters and their arcs that we know come later. So for example, the first 2 short stories were from the perspective of characters from the Last Hour series. So we had a Matthew Fairchild story and an Anna Lightwood story, and I think out of all of her series, that one is actually my least favorite, even though I thought it was going to be my absolute favorite when I started it, but Chain of Thorns let me down a little bit. I felt like it was just stretched too thin. So at first I was like, oh, I don't know if this is going to give me 5-star feelings, but then we got more into Jem Carstairs and Tessa Gray. We had a war-torn London short story, and also Will Herondale is just really haunting the narrative. So there's been some short stories where I've absolutely been so emotional, and then some where I'm like, okay, this is good, this is fun, and I think that's what you get with a collection of short stories. There's going to be some that you like more than others. What do you mean I have 28% left until I am all caught up on the Shadowhunter books that I've been reading since I was 13? I don't know if I should finish it. I have to. I'm crashing out so bad because, oh, once this is done, where is it? I need to hold it. Once this is done, we won't get a new book till we don't know when, because the release date has not been announced for The Wicked Powers. I have this much left. I'm not strong enough. I think this is a bit of a concept book the way that Midnights by Taylor Swift is a concept album. For example, you know how all the songs on that album come from certain parts in her past, and we're not quite sure when, but it all creates the story of her life. That's how this is. There are all these little moments, and I wasn't understanding how they were all going to connect until I got more to the end, and I realized this is a crazy perfect setup for the Wicked Powers because it all leads to Kit Haringdale. I love Kit. I love what we got from him in The Dark Artifices. I think he is one of my favorite Shadowhunters characters. I need to figure out my official ranking, but I know 2 of my favorite Shadowhunters are Alec Lightwood and Kit Haringdale. Speaking of Alec, there is a super long story about him, and I won't give any spoilers, but it is so meaningful. I cried. I could cry just thinking about it, and it just got me good, and it gave me such 5-star feelings. And now I'm on to the next story, which I think might be the last, but I'm not positive, and it'll be over. I was going to color while listening to the audiobook, but I'm in a creative mood, so I decided I'm gonna make a little Canva wallpaper collage for fun. It's probably gonna take me 30 minutes and then it'll just be one Instagram story, but yeah, I'm just inspired because I'm so in this world, so I want to soak it in. Let's do this. Hello guys, it is Saturday now. I have finished Ghost of the Shadow Market. I'm officially all caught up. What is my life? And I think I'm going to end the video after I update on this one. Normally I'll read 3 books in a video, but it's been a whole week. I must have read slow, or I guess this one was a little bit longer. So that's probably all I'm gonna cover. Anyway, I was very torn on what to rate this because it is a bunch of short stories, so naturally I felt different about every single short story. Until I got to the Alec Lightwood story, I wasn't sure where I was at. And then I read it and I cried and I was like, even if I hated every other story, I would have to give this 5 stars for that alone. With Cassandra Clare books, there honestly is a huge range of quality and maybe tone, because at least for her 3 other short story books, she brings in different authors to help her write them, and I think that's why the voice can change a lot. But you never know with her books if it's going to wreck you body and soul or if it's going to be kind of like a silly, cringy time. There is so much lore to Cassandra Clare and her books. It's actually one of my favorite things to talk about ever. But yeah, I didn't know what I was gonna get and I had fun. And I gave it 5 stars. As we get closer to the Wicked Powers, I really want to make more Shadowhunters content. I want to rank the books and we can dive into like the characters, the lore, whatever. Let me know if you would want to see that. I don't know honestly how many people are reading these books in the year 2025, but I think there will be a lot of hype as we get closer. Anyways, normally at the end of my videos, I will say my least favorite to my favorite read in the video, which is really hard because they're so completely different. But I think I'm gonna say Ghost of the Shadow Market was my least favorite. Of course, it was still 5 stars. And then Tom Lake was my absolute favorite. It was just right book, right time, and so refreshing and fun. And I recommend both. That's gonna be it for today's video. Let me know if you've read these books and what you thought of them. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!